What's good, people? Today, the topic of interest is three things that we can learn from Stoicism. So, Stoicism is just a way of being, a way of thinking, a way of doing things, right? The accurate definition for Stoicism is just basically the endurance of pain and hardship without the display of feelings and without complaint. So, it was originated by a guy called Zeno. So, Zeno was a man who was an ancient philosopher, and he was shipwrecked. And when he was shipwrecked, like the ship sank and he lost all his belongings. So, he was in a stressful situation and he was thinking, yo, I gotta figure out a way to get my mind right. I gotta figure out a way to endure this, right? So he came up with different philosophies, and you probably see a whole lot of different books now, with some of the meditations, if you're into the books by Seneca and that kind of thing. But Zeno was the original originator of Stoicism. So I'm gonna share with you guys some principles that can massively improve your life and improve productivity for you. So the first thing that I want to share is in regards to your time. So getting control of your time. And this is one of the quotes from, I think it was Epictetus who said this, but this is the quote. It said that some periods of time are snatched from us, some are stolen, and some simply sleep away. Yet the most shameful loss is the loss due to carelessness. So he's talking about time. And a lot of the time, when you lose time or time is squandered from you or you waste time, it comes down to a lack of preparation on your part, not planning what you want to do with your time. The funny thing about not planning for what you do with your time is that when you don't make a plan, other people will make plans for you. Other people will come and be like, "Hey, I need something from you. Hey, let's go do this. Hey, let's go hang out. Let's go do this." Some of these things aren't necessarily bad things, but they take away time from you. They're stealing from you. And as a result, you don't really get as many things done. And I'm all here for motivation and encouraging people, but I don't want to lie to you. Sometimes you're not progressing simply because you're not doing enough. Sometimes you need to do more. Like I'm all here for like, I'm trying your best, but sometimes you need to do what's required, right? And you can only really do what's required when you really get conscious of your time and you begin planning it. Because when you get a revelation of how precious time is and how little time you really have, when you start viewing your time the same way that you view your money, you become significantly more frugal with it. Like over the weekend I was watching, what was it now? I was watching the Queen movie with Freddie Mercury, one of the best movies I've ever seen. And then it shows a scene where he realizes that he's got AIDS, right? And I was thinking, damn, this is really deep. And when he had AIDS, he lived for like another 5 years. But during those 5 years that he lived with AIDS, he produced way more music than he'd ever done his whole career within that 5 year period. Now, what was that? The 5 year period where he focused so much was down to him being frugal with his time and realizing that he hasn't got much time left. When you understand that time is not infinite, that one day you are going to die, not to be morbid, like one day you really will die, you become significantly more focused. And it's a revelation that you got to get to on your own. Like I can say this out loud and it may go over your head like it used to go over my head, but you can really like initiate this in yourself if you ask yourself this, if I had 1 year to live, what would I do with my time? If I had 1 year to live, what would I do with my time? And when you get that revelation, you think, right, this is what I'll do with my time. This is what I'll do. This is what I'll do. It becomes easier to say no. You begin to plan your time better, right? Because what you do with your time, like, and I don't want to run on this, but time is the biggest differentiator, right? If you want to go to the top of the top of the top of the top of the top, you're going to have to be frugal with your time, right? You're going to have to maximize it. Some things aren't going to fall on you. So that's the main point, becoming frugal with your time. So begin preparing what you want to do with your time and ask yourself this question just to initiate some momentum and desire and seriousness with your time. If I only had 1 year left with my life, what would I do with it? How would I spend my time doing it? Get control of your time. The second thing that I want to share with you guys is the use of negative visualization. So when you hear visualization, it's normally used in a positive way. So like, I just close my eyes and then I see the future that I want to have and it excites me. That is true. But then also the reverse is true as well. You want to begin to get into the habit of using negative visualization as well within balance. A negative visualization is just a practice of you considering what the worst case scenario is in particular aspects of your life. So maybe there's something that you want to do and you're like, I don't know if I want to do it. I'm kind of scared. Visualize and imagine the worst case scenario. Because when you see the worst case scenario, like how it could really fold out, you kind of mentally prepare yourself for it. Like when the worst case scenario happens, should it happen, like it doesn't hit you as badly. It's kind of like when you go to the doctor and you get an injection, COVID-19 infection. You get the injection and the doctor warns you about the side effects. It says like, if you take this injection, you may experience, temporary loss of vision, temporary loss of eyesight, temporary loss of hearing. When you hear that, you're kind of prepared. So when you take the injection and then you experience like, oh, I've lost a little bit of my eyesight, or like, oh, my hearing's gone a little bit, it doesn't hit as bad because you're like, the doctor said this, I'm experiencing this. You're kind of prepared for it, right? And that's what negative visualization does. It allows you to prepare for the worst case scenario, so that when the worst case scenario hits, you're not shaken to the core as much. You've already anticipated and you've thought about different ways to overcome. So negative visualization must also be used with positive visualization. See the two. So that's the second thing. The third thing that we can share in regards to Stoicism is learning to adapt your approach. So this is a really, really good quote that I want to read to you guys out. So this is what the quote says. It says that if you are defeated once and you tell yourself you will overcome, but carry on as before, knowing the end you will also fall so ill and weakened that eventually you won't even notice the mistakes and you'll begin to rationalize your behavior. So that quote sounds like what the heck did that say? That sounded good, Josh, but I don't know what the hell that means. Basically, what that quote is saying is that you want to learn to adapt and change your approach. Sometimes what happens with a lot of us is that we get fixed in our habits. So there's something that you're trying to do, there's something that you're trying to achieve, but you keep doing the same 2, 3, 4 things that didn't work in the past. It's kind of like you're a fly. Like, have you ever seen a fly that's trying to fly out of a window, trying to fly out the door? The fly keeps flying into the closed window, and then it stops, and then it goes flying into the closed window again. It's doing the same things over and over again. Insanity, doing the same things over and over again and expecting different results. You're gonna have to adapt your approach. And people who fail to adapt are the people who get left behind. So you could maybe you're trying to start up a business and you're trying to do certain things and it's not working for you. You're like, it doesn't work. Then you go and you try something else. It doesn't work for you. It doesn't work. You keep hitting the same walls over and over and over again. You don't overcome the walls because you're not learning from your experiences. You need to try something else, right? And this is something that a lot of us do, even myself included. I like to be a creature of habit, but there's certain things that don't work for you. So you got to learn to adjust your position, pivot a little bit, try something else. Because when you continuously do the same things over and over again, that's how you get people who say like, I tried this and this wasn't for me, business wasn't for me, or what, I tried sports, sports wasn't for me, or I couldn't do this. A lot of the things that you do are skill sets, things that can be learned, right? Business can be learned. Skills like talking in front of a camera can be learned. Communicating, intelligence, that's something that can be built. But if you're going about things the same way and it's not working, you begin to rationalize and tell yourself that you can't. Just like that quote says, you begin to rationalize your experiences. So those are the 3 things that you can learn from Stoicism. So 1, getting control of your time. 2, using negative visualization to see the worst case scenario. And 3, learning to adapt, to change your approach. That's the video of the day. You guys take care and I'll be back again tomorrow. Peace.